Welcome to the LZ Sports Show. I am one of your hosts, Mark Adam, here in the WPG Sports HQ, and joining me from his new spot. Nate, how you doing over there, sir?
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. I'm much better today than I have been this week. For those out there, we missed a show this week. Narv was moving. I have been dealing with a concussion, which is super. And we're talking about a wonderful game that happened last night. And by wonderful, I mean atrocious. So let's just jump right into that. Let's have a look at those stats. Oof. Right? 7-1 for the Habs. On 20 is just rough.
That is rough. It's definitely not a locker room environment where you want to be a part of, that you want to be a part of after a loss like that. So I would have been interested to see what head coach Paul Maurice had to say directly to the team themselves, because losing is one thing, but like 7-1, like that's when you reach the 4-1 level in any sort of level in hockey, let it be in the minors or in the NHL or whatever, and your morale starts to die. But 7-1, like you want to pack it up and go home.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was their last game in Montreal. They head next week to Toronto to play 3 times there. That's not a step in the right direction, I think. That said, and as Blake Wheeler said in the post-game interview, he said, back and you look at that first goal, what are you going to do? Crazy bounce off the end, the glass, and it just sort of pops out front. Hellebuck goes behind the net to get a puck that's never going to fortunate bounce. And then after that, the defense was absolutely atrocious. It was atrocious right before each goal. Who was he aiming for? Who was he trying to pass that puck to? Why did he do that? It makes, every time I watch it, I'm like, that makes no sense. And I don't want to pick on Tucker Pullman because there were 7 goals scored, and I think there were at least 6 different people involved that caused each one of those goals. So, yeah, you right off the first one because, Brendan Gallagher at the top of the crease all by himself while your team does not have possession of the puck. What are you doing? Why is there nobody even thinking? They weren't on a power play. Why was he there? This is a little rough. What do you make of this, sir?
All right. I'm looking at that, and, we were praising the Jets so much about that one night. I can't remember who exactly it was against. It might have been Vancouver, where 12 of them hit the score sheet with scoring opportunities. Now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different skaters here for the Montreal Canadiens.
And there were 8 more, So
yeah.
Like 13 different Montreal Canadiens got points in last night's game, including the other goal that you don't see there because we ran out of room was Jeff Petrie, and Tyler Toffoli had 3 assists. And there were a few others that had assists as well. But that's and it says Jake Allen, but that was definitely Carey Price that played 28 of 29 shots. And it's not like the Jets didn't have opportunities to score. 29 shots, the Jets, they don't like to shoot unless they have an opportunity. So the 29 decent shots on goal, and Carey Price just shut the door. So you got a real poor defensive effort from the Jets in the second period that leads to 4 goals happening in that frame. And then you have Carey Price at the other end being Carey Price of old, not, Carey Price of late. And that's just sort of what happened to the Jets last night. They fell apart. I don't know what to tell you. Jets fans, fellow Jets fans. Go ahead.
I went full troll mode on Twitter the other day, and I looked up on Michael, and he tweeted out in the last Montreal and Jets game that this is a serious revenge game for Joel Armia right now. And you know what? I was like, why shouldn't it be? Joel Armia was a good player here, and he trained all offseason and back home, and then things didn't really work out for him for the Jets, and I think he takes a lot of things personally. And then you also have Ben Sherratt, who plays for Montreal, who's a former Jet. Jets went down 7-1. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Like you said, you don't know what to tell me. I don't know what to tell you.
Didn't have a whole lot to elaborate on at the end when the media was asking him questions. Like, yeah, the team didn't play great defense in the second period. What do you think about that? He said, I agree. On his, in his I don't know what to say mode, you know you screwed up. Like, at no point, they could not get their poop in a group at any point last night. They couldn't string two thoughts together, let alone two passes together. They just they looked tired. They looked confused. I don't know if they showed up in Montreal a day early and drank too much wine and had too much of the entire night off. Deserved that. They were on the power play. Random puck flung across the ice that happens to bounce off of a broken stick just laying there, waiting there. There was nobody there. That puck took a lucky bounce, and the Jets managed to not have a big goose egg at the end of this route. Because the Jets also started to back up. They're leaving way too much ice in front of them, which leaves way too much of a lane for those really fast Montreal Canadiens. Game is just wide open, and when you're the Montreal Canadiens preying on a team that's back on their heels like that, that's how they won their first 9 games of the season, is by getting teams by catching people to deal with that speed last night, because they went absolutely the other way. Instead of stepping up, they just took the night off. So that's a rough way to go.
They almost looked like, like I said, I'm going to stand by this team as strongly as I did before. I'm not putting my gear away. I don't want the fan base to get deteriorated, or 2 teams in the NHL are going to lose a big game. All right, so it happens to be the Jets. But maybe last night, if you really look at it, they almost played like when they first moved from Atlanta.
They very much have been building a lot of chemistry, and that shows. One game does not a season make. So when you look at their stats in their last 10 games, they're still 7-3-0, right? But of those 3 losses, that one last night is a big L. That's capital L, bold, italics, all the underlined in quotes. That's a big loss. That was a big loss. So 4-1 on 6-4-0 on the road. So it's not time to panic. They're on a losing streak of 1. So it's not the end of the world. They won 2 days before against the same team in overtime. And what was crazy, and if you look at in the previous game.
Yeah, then this one, it really diminished by almost 50%, or less than 50%.
More than 50%. All of a sudden that just went away. But the face-off percentage was the same. The Jets got off just as many shots. They went 1 for 2 on the Saturday. The Habs took 4 on Thursday. They took 4 on Saturday. That was almost identical. Crazy how that all worked out, but that hits, that dropping from 40 something to 17, and the difference, it's because they didn't have an opportunity to hit a Jet, because Montreal seemed to always have the puck. Montreal was they were skating circles around the Jet. They I don't know what happened to them, but again, one night, as Captain Wheeler said, what are you going to do? You get ready for the next game. So that's sort of the way that they have to look at how last night went down. In other action in the division, Vancouver beat Toronto, ending a road trip. So 4-2 for Vancouver. Good for them. They're just trying to make a name for themselves. And that's sort of what you're going to see happen. Tend to be the victor in their games. So when they lose, it's more of a shock, even against Toronto.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm just really getting. No. That's when there's an all-star caliber team with just every single name that's on there, and even statistically proven so, right? Because all of those names are really delivering for the Maple Leafs. But it's just if they're going to be losing these types of games, it's why should anybody really be that intimidated by them? Because, they went to beat Edmonton, and then, like I said, anybody can beat them, and they can beat anybody too, right? So maybe Vancouver is maybe they're going to get it together now. And just to backtrack for a second, when you were talking, that's what happened with Montreal, because they really figured the Jets out to win 7-1.
Yeah, well, not just, I don't think they got figured out so much as they just took a day off. A lot of those goals were made possible by Jet mistakes. Montreal played pretty well, and that's great. But I think if the Jets played like they normally do defensively, I think they limit those chances. I think there's they allow shots from outside. Last night, and speaking to Toronto, 7 days ago I released the power my power rankings, such as look a week later, and I mean it's not like they are completely gone. They still have a 7-3-0 record in their last 10. They're not playing terrible hockey overall, but, and this is a big but, they're not playing. They're just not pushing as hard. It seems 2-game losing streak right now for Toronto, which is not something they're used to contending with this year. And if I had to redo my power rankings as of today, after last night's matchups and all that and all the statistics, if you're looking at it, Toronto for me drops from first to fourth.
The second you told me, you opened up the statement by within the division, Vancouver beat Toronto. I was like, whoa, that's not good news for Toronto. Not good news at all.
No, it's demoralizing to lose 2 in a row to teams you should, especially. But I would say, really, on paper, the rest of the league, like they should be number one in the league. And I mean, technically, with 38 points, they are, but they've also played 26 games. So if you look at points percentage, number of points won versus potentially won, the Toronto Maple Leafs are fourth in the league. Vegas right now, number one, 21 games played, they've got 33 points. Vegas is kicking some serious butt, and every Canadian team should be very glad they are not in our division. That is a scary team to play against. For me, Tampa Bay stays in the same spot. They're second in the league officially, and if you look at points percentage, they're second in the league. They've got 22 games played, 16 wins for 34 points. They've got they're 7-2-1 in their last 10. The last game being an overtime loss, but still 7-2-1 in their last 10. The top 10 teams in the league are they are what they are if you look at it by points percentage. I don't think that it's a fair representation. Like I said, Toronto, 26 games played. There's got to be teams that are there teams in the teens still? Nope. Everybody's played at least 21 games, so that's good. That's a little more parity than there was before. Because the bigger the numbers get, the less the gap means. But yeah, for me it goes Vegas, Tampa Bay, Florida, and then Toronto, and that's a pretty big switch from last 1 week ago today, where I had it going Toronto, Tampa, Vegas.
I agree. I think it's that is really what the deal is, and if that's how it's going to be shaken up, Toronto's really going to have to regroup themselves if they want to stay in that cup contender talk, right? There's not really much they can do, and it's you pinpointed it so perfectly. It's just like on paper, they really are the best team in the league. Like they just are just stacked with superstars. It's almost like I said, all publicly lets people know there's equals on the team, but maybe there's just a lot of people to keep happy, and maybe that's the problem that they're going to run into, and maybe we're going to see that now.
Yeah, I hope the Jets figure it out, because last night was really look to right some wrongs during a morning skate. I think you're going to find a bunch of reshuffling of the lines just to shake things up. Maybe they don't pose sort of singular looks. Especially eventually they're trying to move Dubois to the center. Obviously, that's a thing they want to have happen as a permanent going forward thing. So shake some stuff up. Have a look at that. We all know Paul Maurice is going to do it. So we'll just let him keep going. And we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Make your house a better place to come home to with Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We've been to Aquatech is the only name you need to know. That's because if it's an Aquatech job, it's an Aquatech team working on it. No outsourcing, no subcontractors.
So thank you very much to Aquatech for that. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm kind of disappointed that I keep saying loss, and you want them to go home. They have a couple extra days because they don't play now till Tuesday. So they have tongue there. Do they play? I'm sorry. I'm double checking myself now that I said that out loud. I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I mean, half the time, it's probably what I sound like anyway. We're just fans to take these couple of days, regroup, off. But they're on Tuesday. They play in Toronto, and kind of nice for us Jets fans. We get our 6 o'clock start times all week next week. All 3 games against Toronto in Toronto are 6 p.m. starts, so that's kind of nice. We don't have to stay up, those Vancouver games that start at 9. And again, I'm from the East Coast. I'm very used to Vancouver games starting at 11 p.m. because that's what time they start. The doubleheader of Hockey Night in Canada starts at 11 p.m. in Nova Scotia. So, when the bars close at 2, you're just hoping there's no. You think off the top of your head the Jets need to be doing to fix themselves, I guess, for the Toronto series next week?
Mark Scheifele, I think, went game streak. Blake Wheeler just probably needs to lead the team out because Toronto's a team that they're gonna be intimidated by no matter what. They're coming off a 7-1 loss right now, and they're gonna want to redeem themselves. So they're gonna want to take this team a little bit seriously, maybe a little bit low. So the Jets just need to understand who they're going up against and realize that these are 3 games that they're going to be away from their home ice, and that's where the Jets at. They need to flip that.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, you take a beating, you get back up. That's how the NHL works, and it's cliche. People say it all the time, but it's they get paid millions of dollars. They can suck it up, and that's kind of the way it needs to go. When you lose, that's how you sort of have to default to. Listen, this is in their last 10. This is not a time to panic.
They can go 15-5 in their next 20. I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way they're playing, absolutely. They're playing awesome hockey right now, and I don't want to take anything away from the Jets at all. They're
very awesome hockey, and just like you said,
they just need to pull yesterday apart, figure out what the hell happened, or it was a rough one. It was a rough one, and to see not only Hellebuck have a rough go, but for them to pull after 4 goals, they pull Hellebuck, and then turning around, you got Laurent Brossoit letting in 3 on 9 shots, which is super uncharacteristic for him as well. That one goal that I think it was their 7th goal. The puck was flung into the end, and he just completely mishandled it. It was bouncing. It was a tough puck. It's a great opportunity, and bang, goal. It just, not one player on the Jets to me. Every time we do this show, I ask you who's a player that stood out to you. But last night, I can't imagine any Jet was particularly good. Even Scheifele was flinging pucks around at random. And again, their goal they got on absolute fluke. So, I mean, great work, great puck work once they handled the puck. But that puck should never have been in the zone in the first place. They got a lucky bounce off a broken stick laying there, and all of a sudden the puck doesn't leave the zone. Then, Pionk sets up right there. And that's something I did like, was that they seemed like they were hustling. They just weren't using their brains. Like, their physical effort was there. They weren't being lazy. They were just not thinking. And those types of lapses are way worse than if you take a lazy swing at a puck. Your coach is going to see it, and they're going to question you on it, of the ice to no one except for the Montreal at the point. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what was that? It wasn't a lazy play. He could have done a bunch of different things with that puck. He hustled to the puck, and then he got it, and then he just flung it. I don't even know if he looked. Ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But anyway, I think we've beat this dead horse to death again.
Oh, yeah.
So again, the cliche again is that right now it's playoff hockey. It feels very much like that, and in the playoffs, when you lose, something's going to happen. They're playing Toronto 3 times next week. They're going to write that loss off, and they're going to get ready for the as of a week ago, the best team in the league. Still technically the best team in the league if you look at it through the NHL's point of view. 30 looking team right now. But I think in their current position, they are completely beatable. So let's hope that stays up. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Keith McKnight. I appreciate it. I know it was a bit of a rush this morning. Your internet literally just got installed.
Yeah,
So
I love the timing of that, and I don't know if it's everybody's thing, but I literally prayed for that last.
thank you very much, everybody out there, for watching. Again, you can follow us on those social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Hit us up. We would really love to hear from you. We'll see you next time in the LZ.